So it appears that the Ezra Miller Flash movie is going to have not only one, but two Batman in the story. But this is supposed to be a Flash movie. Let's talk about that right now. Hello everybody and welcome back to Joker's Movie Network. I'm your host Joker, and today we've got some crazy news coming out from DC fandom this week. So the Flash movie, it's been a big topic for a lot of people in the DC world since we've been trying to get this movie since what feels like 2015. There's been so much talk about change of directors and change of writers and changing the script in total to the point where this movie keeps getting pushed back. And now of course due to the coronavirus pandemic, it's getting pushed back even farther. But that is not stopping director Andy Muschietti from giving us more information about what to expect from this movie. And after the shocking, groundbreaking news that was Michael Keaton returning to be Batman in this Flash movie, I thought, okay, this is going to be a pretty great movie. What's it going to be about? And then we've got more confirmation from Andy Muschietti again, saying that Ben Affleck is also going to be returning to his role as Batman. And not only that, but Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton are supposed to have substantial roles in this movie. They're not just quick cameos. Which leads me to wonder, how much Flash are we going to be seeing in this Flash movie when we already have two different characters playing Batman? Now, the basic concept that we have is that this movie is going to be Flashpoint based off the 2011 Flashpoint comic, where the Flash goes back in time, changes the past, and because of that alters the future drastically, which looks like this is what this movie is going to be about. Now, we don't exactly know where in the timeline this is supposed to take place and at what point he's going to be going back in time to. I'm curious to see if it's going to be like it was in Batman v Superman, where we find Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne asleep at his desk and the Flash comes out of a time portal and says, "You have to find us, you've been right about him this whole time." I don't know exactly if that's the point they're going to be choosing. It would kind of make sense if that's it, since it's already in the film itself, but there could be multiple times where he goes back. But in doing so, when he goes back in time, potentially to warn Bruce Wayne about, I'm guessing, Superman, and that he has to find the rest of the Justice League, but upon doing so after the Flash returns to his time, it looks like he's split into two alternate universes, giving us Michael Keaton's Gotham from the Tim Burton universe. We don't know much if it's going to be an actual, true adaptation of Tim Burton's Gotham that we saw in Batman 1989, but if so, that would be fantastic. So because Ben Affleck has a substantial role in this movie supposedly, what is going to be happening, and is it going to be him that sends Barry back in time, or is it going to be Barry on his own free will? We don't know much about that, but we do have one quote from director Andy Muschietti himself when he was talking with Vanity Fair. And in this quote he said, "He's a very substantial part of the emotional impact of the movie. The interaction and relationship between Barry and Affleck's Wayne will bring an emotional level that we haven't seen before. It's Barry's movie, it's Barry's story, but their characters are more related than we think. They both lost their mothers to murder, and that's one of the emotional vessels of the movie. That's where the Affleck Batman kicks in." Already from hearing this, I'm hoping they're not trying to take the Martha route that they did with Batman v Superman, because that was really poor storytelling, and it makes me wonder what else was on the table that they had to go with. Superman and Batman both have moms named Martha. Let's use that. It just doesn't work. But there's more to the quote where Muschietti says, "He's the baseline. He's part of an unaltered state before we jump into Barry's adventure." So obviously I'm wondering if Ben Affleck is going to have part in, say, the first third and potentially the first half of the movie, and then it changes to Michael Keaton after Barry goes back in time and alters the future. That's what would make the most logical sense to me. Now, of course, this isn't going to be the exact Flashpoint comic we understood, because in that version, when he goes back in time and changes the past and comes back to the present time where he's from, we discover that Bruce Wayne is no longer Batman, but it was his father, Thomas Wayne, and he's a very violent Batman. The Amazons are at war with the Atlanteans. There's a whole lot of changes there. Now, I don't think that means that Michael Keaton is going to be playing Thomas Wayne. I'm pretty sure he's just going to be playing an alternate version of Bruce Wayne, very similar to what we saw in Arrow's Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover on the CW network. Now, overall, I do think this is actually a pretty great thing, especially for Ben Affleck, considering he had a pretty rough time as Batman. None of the fans really seemed to like him, and the movies were really lacking, especially after the Joss Whedon cut of Justice League. That, on top of the fact that he was supposed to star in and direct his own solo Batman movie, which was cut and scrapped from the floor, and now that we have Matt Reeves' version of a solo Batman movie that, yes, is separate from the DCEU, but it just takes up so much more space that there would be no real point in creating another solo Batman movie, even if it was in the DCEU and separate from Matt Reeves' movie. There's just too much Batman going on there, and it could get confusing to the casual viewer, as well as the hardcore viewer like myself. But I do think it's great that Ben Affleck has agreed to come back, especially since he took a break from Hollywood in general, from being an actor and directing and producing and anything revolving the film industry. He decided to take a step back and work on his personal health. And I think it's great seeing that he wants to come back now, and hopefully we're going to be seeing a better version of Bruce Wayne that he could give us now as opposed to what he gave us a few years ago. But at the same time, there's still one thing on everybody's mind that needs to be addressed, and that is what is going on with Ezra Miller. We've still had no confirmation from either him or the studio or any of his lawyers or anyone above him that controls what Ezra Miller does surrounding that whole video of him choking out a fan. We don't know if it was staged, we don't know if it was a real thing, we don't know if it was just like a, hey, let's just do this on video, it's totally okay, I give you permission to do this kind of thing. There's nothing. And it doesn't matter if it was real or fake, the fact is that they just haven't said anything. So they're giving us all this information for this Flash movie, which could be potentially fantastic. It sounds like a great story so far, and I have high hopes for it. But at the same time, why can we not address what's going on with Ezra Miller and what happened in this scenario? I mean, this whole thing went down in April, and it's already almost September, and we still have heard nothing about it. And this movie is supposed to start production in early 2021. So we need to get something about that. We can't just sweep it under the rug and assume that we're just going to forget about it, because that definitely won't happen. But just overall, is this going to be a solo Flash movie with not enough Flash in it because of the overwhelming appearances of Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck? Or is this going to be a true Flash movie that everyone has been wanting? But there's only going to be one way to find that out, and that's when the movie actually decides to hit theaters, whenever production decides to begin, and if they can get through it successfully. But what do you guys think? Do you like this idea for the Flash movie? Do you think this Flashpoint storyline is something that you're interested in? Or do you think they should lean a little bit away from Batman and focus mainly on Flash and Barry Allen's story? Let me know in the comments down below. I want to talk about it. But until they get any more information around Andy Muschietti and this Flash movie, and I guarantee we may get more this weekend since it is DC fandom, alongside more from the Snyder Cut of Justice League. But until any more news on that breaks, that is going to be it for this video, guys. Remember, if you like what you saw, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know in the comments down below if you want to see more movie news videos, or if you'd like to see anything else. But until then, and as always, I will see you guys next time.